The void held its secrets close. For decades it had swallowed the truth, leaving only whispers and shadows in its wake. The Hades One, a monument to human ambition and the insatiable thirst for knowledge, had vanished into the cosmic expanse. It was a mission etched in the annals of history, not for its triumph but for its deafening silence. The world remembered the faces of the crew, their smiles frozen in time, their dreams lost among the stars. They were pioneers, adventurers who dared to reach beyond the familiar, only to be consumed by the infinite darkness. The official reports spoke of unforeseen complications, of equipment malfunction, but the truth remained elusive. The Hades One became synonymous with failure, a stark reminder of the unforgiving nature of the cosmos. It was a wound on the collective human psyche, a chilling testament to the unknown terrors that lurked beyond the veil of the known. The families of the lost crew were left with nothing but empty solace and a profound sense of unanswered questions. Years bled into decades, and the memory of the Hades One faded into obscurity. Humanity, ever resilient, pressed onward, pushing the boundaries of exploration, seeking solace in new discoveries. Yet the void never truly forgets. Deep within the abyss, a whisper stirred, a faint echo of a tragedy long past. A signal, weak and distorted, pierced the veil of static and interstellar noise. It was a beacon from the past, a ghost in the machine, carrying the spectral signature of the Hades One. The discovery sent shockwaves through the scientific community, igniting a firestorm of speculation and unease. The signal was a paradox, a violation of the natural order, defying the years of silence. It was a spectral siren song, beckoning humanity back to the site of its greatest failure. Could there be survivors, or did it whisper of something far more sinister, a truth too terrifying to comprehend? The reappearance of the Hades One signal was not merely a scientific anomaly, it was a siren call, a challenge to the very essence of human curiosity. The world watched with bated breath as a new mission was conceived, a desperate attempt to pierce the veil of mystery surrounding the ill-fated vessel. The Talos, a marvel of engineering and a testament to the advancements made since the loss of the Hades One, was chosen for this perilous mission. It was a vessel forged in the fires of innovation, equipped to face the unknown with a level of technological prowess that its predecessor could only dream of. At the helm of the Talos was Captain Carter, a seasoned veteran haunted by the ghosts of space explorations past. He carried the weight of the mission on his shoulders, a burden shared by his crew doctor Elena Vargas, a brilliant astrophysicist with an unwavering thirst for knowledge, and Daniel Hastings, a young gifted engineer eager to prove himself. Together they embarked on a journey into the heart of darkness, unaware of the horrors that awaited them.
The Hades One had been more than just a mission. It had been a symbol of human ambition, a testament to the boundless curiosity that drove us ever outward. I knew some of the crew members personally, shared laughs and stories in the mess hall, saw the fire of discovery burning in their eyes. Their loss was a blow to the entire spacefaring community, a stark reminder of the unforgiving nature of the cosmos.
Captain Carter stood on the observation deck of the Talos, his gaze fixed on the swirling blue marble that was Earth. The ship thrummed with a life of its own, a symphony of technology preparing to pierce the veil of the unknown. He could feel the weight of the mission pressing down on him, the hopes and fears of a world clinging to the faintest glimmer of hope. He remembered the day the news had broken, the collective gasp of horror that had rippled through the halls of Mission Control. The silence that followed had been deafening, the weight of their absence a tangible presence in the room. Now, after all these years, the Hades One was calling out again, a whisper from beyond the grave. Carter took a deep breath, steadying himself. He was not a superstitious man, but there was something about this mission that sent shivers down his spine. The Hades One had been swallowed whole by the void, leaving no trace, no explanation. What chance did they have of finding answers where others had failed so completely?
The Talos is a marvel of engineering, a testament to our ability to turn dreams into reality. Every inch of her crafted with a singular purpose to venture further, explore deeper, and unravel the mysteries of the universe.
Dr. Eleanor Vargas ran a hand along the smooth metal hull of the Talos, her fingers tracing the lines of its design. She had pored over the blueprints, studied every schematic, memorized every system.
The Talos is more than just a vessel. It's an extension of my own curiosity, a tool to quench my thirst for knowledge. The mission to locate the Hades is a chance to right a past wrong and push the boundaries of human understanding.
Vargas had dedicated her life to studying the cosmos, to deciphering the language of the stars. She had spent countless nights in the observatory, her eyes glued to the telescope, searching for answers among the celestial tapestry.
The Hades eye signal is a puzzle I'm determined to solve, a challenge I can't resist. The thought of the lost crew gnaws at me. What had they encountered out there in the darkness? What secrets had they uncovered?
The signal was a lifeline, a whisper from the abyss, and she would follow it wherever it led, even if it meant confronting the unknown.
All right, let's check these readings one last time. Fingers crossed, everything looks good.
Daniel Hastings checked the readings on his console one last time, his fingers dancing across the holographic interface. Excitement coursed through his veins, a mixture of anticipation and apprehension.
I joined the space program for moments like this, to be part of something larger than myself, to make history. I was just a boy when the Hades disappeared, but the story captivated my imagination.
Now here he was, aboard the most advanced spacecraft ever built, on a mission to find out what had happened to those who came before. It was a responsibility he didn't take lightly.
The countdown is echoing through the ship, each number bringing us closer to the unknown. Deep breath, Daniel. You've prepared for this moment for years.
As the engines roared to life, a tremor ran through the Talos. The ship shuddered, then slowly began to rise, breaking free from Earth's gravitational embrace.
There goes Earth, just another celestial body in the vastness of space. We're on our own now, venturing into the abyss, our fate intertwined with the ghost ship we seek.
The Talos cut through the fabric of space, its engines humming a lullaby of technological prowess. Days bled into weeks, each hyperspace jump bringing them closer to the coordinates of the Hades' last known transmission. The anticipation on board was palpable, a mixture of trepidation and nervous excitement. Then it appeared on the main view screen, a celestial ghost ship adrift in the unforgiving void. The Hades One, in all its spectral glory, hung suspended against the backdrop of a million twinkling stars. It was a scene both breathtaking and terrifying, like stumbling upon a tomb in the heart of a bustling city. The Talos approached cautiously, its sensors scanning the derelict vessel for any signs of life. The silence was deafening, a symphony of nothingness that sent shivers down the spines of the bravest crew members. The Hades One was a tomb, its secrets locked within its cold, metallic embrace. "No life signs detected," announced the ship's AI, its voice devoid of inflection. It was a statement of fact, yet it seemed to echo in the silence of the bridge, amplifying the sense of unease that had settled over the crew, the Hades. I was a ghost ship, a phantom from a forgotten era, and they were about to step on board.
Captain Carter gazed out at the Hades One, his face a mask of grim determination. The derelict vessel seemed to stare back, its lifeless eyes reflecting the cold light of distant stars. He couldn't shake the feeling that they were crossing a line, venturing into a realm where the laws of nature held no sway. "Prepare an away team," he ordered, his voice betraying a hint of the tension that thrummed beneath the surface. "Dr. Vargas, you'll lead the initial exploration. Hastings, You're with her. Keep your eyes open and your comms online. Report anything unusual.
The airlock hissed as the away team disembarked, their footsteps echoing in the vast silence of the docking bay. The air was heavy, stale, as if it hadn't been breathed in centuries. The silence was oppressive, broken only by the hiss of their respirators and the frantic thumping of their own hearts.
It's like stepping into a tomb, whispered Hastings, his voice tight with apprehension.
The temperature had dropped noticeably and the air seemed to crackle with an unseen energy. The Hades was not just a derelict vessel, it was a graveyard of forgotten dreams, a testament to the insatiable hunger of the void. Dr. Vargas activated her helmet lamp, its beam cutting through the gloom of the derelict corridor. Dust motes danced in the artificial light, swirling like miniature galaxies in the stale air. The Hades 1 was a labyrinth of shadows and silence, its corridors lined with the ghosts of a forgotten crew. The silence was unnerving, broken only by the rasp of their own breathing and the soft hum of their life support systems. Every step felt like a violation, an intrusion into a sacred space where the living were not meant to tread. The air was thick with a palpable tension, as if the very walls were watching their every move.
Did you hear that? Hastings whispered, his voice barely a tremor in the stillness.
Vargas paused, straining to listen. At first there was nothing but the silence, heavy and oppressive. Then she heard it, a faint whisper like the rustling of paper seemingly coming from the very walls themselves. It was a sound that sent shivers down her spine, a sound that spoke of things unseen and unheard. Vargas pressed forward, her curiosity overriding her fear. The whispers grew louder as they approached the bridge, morphing into a low, guttural murmur that seemed to vibrate in her bones. It was a language she couldn't understand, yet it felt strangely familiar, as if it resonated with some primal part of her being. The bridge of the Hades one was a chaotic tableau frozen in time. Consoles flickered with an eerie green light displaying data streams that had long since gone cold. The skeletal remains of the crew lay slumped over their stations, their skeletal fingers still clutching at control panels, their empty sockets staring into eternity.
Vargas approached the central command console, her gloved fingers tracing the outlines of a cracked view screen. As she did, a ghostly image flickered to life, a spectral echo of the Hades One's final moments. It showed a swirling vortex of colors, a maelstrom of cosmic energy that seemed to defy the laws of physics. And then she saw it, a face within the vortex, its features twisted in a silent scream, its eyes burning with an unholy light. It was a face that haunted her dreams, a face that seemed to whisper of knowledge best left undisturbed.
The whispers followed them deeper into the ship, slithering through the corridors like phantoms. The air grew colder, biting at any exposed skin with icy needles. Vargas could feel a presence, unseen but palpable, watching their every move. The silence of the Hades was no longer empty, it was filled with 1,000 unseen eyes.
This way!
Her voice tight with apprehension, her hand hovering over the energy pistol at her side, she led them towards the heart of the ship, towards the source of the signal that had lured them to this haunted vessel. Each step felt heavier than the last, as if they were wading through an invisible quagmire of dread.
What happened here? What happened to these people?
Hastings shivered, his youthful face pale beneath the visor of his helmet. He could feel the whispers burrowing into his mind, whispering words he couldn't understand but felt in the marrow of his bones. Fear, primal and consuming, threatened to overwhelm him.
I don't know, but I aim to find out.
The corridor opened into a large, cavernous chamber. Metal catwalks snaked around the perimeter, leading to different levels of the room. In the center, a massive spherical structure hummed with an eerie green light, casting long, grotesque shadows across the chamber.
What is that?
The air in the chamber felt heavy, charged with a strange energy that made the hairs on the back of his neck stand on end.
I don't know, but I have a bad feeling about it.
She motioned for Carter and Hastings to follow her as she cautiously approached the sphere. As they drew closer, the whispers intensified, morphing into a cacophony of voices that seemed to claw at their minds. Vargas could feel a cold dread creeping up her spine, tightening its grip around her heart. This place was inherently wrong, a festering wound in the fabric of reality. The sphere pulsed with an eerie, hypnotic rhythm, its green light reflecting off their visors. As Vargas reached out to touch it, a wave of energy pulsed outward, throwing her back against the railing. Hastings cried out, reaching for her, but he too was thrown back by an invisible force. Visions, grotesque and terrifying, flashed through Vargas's mind. She saw stars twisting and contorting, galaxies collapsing in on themselves. She saw creatures of pure energy, their forms shifting and changing, their eyes burning with cold, malevolent intelligence.
What did you see?
Carter yelled over the din of the whispers, his face a mask of concern. He pulled Vargas to her feet, his grip on her arm firm. Hastings lay slumped against the railing, his eyes glazed over, his breathing shallow.
I don't know, but I think this place is driving us mad.
Mumbling, slurred and disjointed.
Hastings began to mumble, his words slurred and disjointed. He clutched at his helmet, his eyes wide with terror. Black veins, pulsing with an eerie green light, began to spread across his face, like a spiderweb of corruption.
We have to get out of here,
Carter said urgently, his voice tight with fear.
Whatever this place is, it's changing him.
He grabbed Hastings' arm, trying to pull him away from the sphere. Hastings screamed, a high-pitched, unnatural sound that echoed through the chamber. He thrashed against Carter's grip, his eyes burning with an alien light.
Run, flee while you still can. It's already too late for me.
Hastings' scream echoed through the chamber, a chilling testament to the unseen horror that had taken root within him. Carter, his face a mask of grim determination, dragged the convulsing engineer towards the exit, his own heart pounding against his ribs like a war drum. Vargas, her mind still reeling from the visions that had assaulted her, scrambled after them, her energy pistol clutched tightly in her gloved hand. The whispers pursued them relentlessly, twisting into mocking laughter that seemed to claw at the edges of their sanity. The corridor stretched before them, a seemingly endless tunnel of shadows and dread. The air grew colder with each step, the metallic walls slick with a viscous, oily substance that glistened under the beam of Vargas's helmet lamp.
We're not going to make it!
Vargas gasped, her breath forming icy clouds in the frigid air. The weight of Hastings' transforming body was slowing them down, his struggles growing weaker with each passing moment. They were running out of time. The bridge of the Hades Y loomed before them, a beacon of false hope in the heart of the nightmare. Carter, his muscles screaming in protest, half-carried, half-dragged Hastings through the hatchway, his eyes scanning the desolate control center for any sign of escape. Vargas, her chest heaving, slammed her fist against the control panel for the docking bay doors.
No response.
She cursed, her voice tight with panic. The Talos was their only lifeline, their only escape from this haunted vessel, but the ship seemed determined to keep them prisoner. As if in answer to her plea, the central view screen flickered to life, bathing the bridge in an eerie green light. Hastings, his body racked by spasms, let out a low, guttural moan, his eyes fixed on the screen with a terrifying intensity.
It's calling to them. It wants them to see.
The screen pulsed, the green light intensifying, and then the faces began to appear.
The faces of the Hades One crew, their eyes wide with a terror that transcended death, stared out from the screen. Their expressions were frozen in silent screams, their skin stretched taut over skeletal features. They were phantoms, echoes of a tragedy long past, reaching out from beyond the grave.
Vargas gasped, her hand flying to her mouth to stifle a scream. The faces seemed to shift and change, their features distorting into grotesque parodies of human expressions. It was as if they were trying to warn them, to convey the depths of their suffering, the magnitude of the horror they had encountered.
What did you see?
A voice rasped, echoing through the bridge. Vargas spun around, her energy pistol raised, only to find Hastings gone. In his place stood a figure wreathed in shadows, its form shifting and changing like smoke in the wind. The black veins that had spread across his face now covered his entire body, pulsing with the same eerie green light as the sphere.
What have you done with him?
Carter roared, his voice laced with fury and despair. He launched himself at the shadowy figure, but his hands passed through it as if it were nothing more than a phantom. The figure turned its head, and Vargas could have sworn she saw Hastings' eyes staring out at her, filled with a cold, alien intelligence that sent shivers down her spine.
He is gone, consumed as we all were, as you will be.
The lights on the bridge flickered violently, plunging the room into momentary darkness. When they flickered back on, the figure was gone, and the view screen was alive with static.
Carter, the Talos, it's leaving.
Through the static, she could just make out the silhouette of their ship, its engines firing, pulling away from the derelict vessel.
They've abandoned us.
Carter breathed, his voice heavy with defeat. He turned to Vargas, his face a mask of despair.
We're trapped here, Elena. Trapped with whatever that thing is.
The whispers surrounded them, growing louder, more insistent, as if celebrating their impending doom. The Hades, I had claimed them, body and soul, just as it had claimed those who had come before. They were prisoners now, trapped in a nightmare from which there was no escape. The Talos became a shrinking speck on the view screen, a silver teardrop against the vast, indifferent canvas of space. It was a lifeline severed, a promise of salvation broken against the unforgiving reality of their situation. They were adrift now, not just in space, but in some uncharted abyss of the soul, a place where reason and logic had no meaning. Carter slumped against the command console, his face buried in his hands. Defeat, heavy and absolute, settled over him like a shroud. He had faced down cosmic storms, stared death in the face more times than he cared to remember. But this felt different. This was a defeat that gnawed at the edges of his sanity, a defeat that whispered of things best left undisturbed. Vargas stood beside him, her gaze fixed on the receding ship, her own heart a lead weight in her chest. She had dedicated her life to unraveling the mysteries of the universe, to seeking knowledge in the face of the unknown. Now faced with a truth too terrible to comprehend, she felt a chilling sense of insignificance. The universe was vast, cold, and uncaring. It held no malice, but neither did it offer solace. They were specks of dust, caught in the currents of forces beyond their comprehension, their fates already sealed. Even as she clung to the faintest glimmer of hope, she knew, deep down, that they were already lost. The whispers were everywhere now, slithering through the corridors of the Hades like venomous snakes, worming their way into the deepest recesses of their minds. They whispered of forgotten gods and ancient evils, of realities beyond human comprehension. They whispered of things that made her skin crawl, that made her blood run cold. Vargas could feel them probing her defenses, testing her sanity, searching for a crack in her resolve. She had faced the unknown before, embraced the thrill of discovery, but this was different. This was knowledge best left buried, a truth that could shatter the fragile foundations of her sanity. She closed her eyes, trying to block out the whispers, but they were inside her head now, whispering in the language of nightmares. She could feel them, twisting her thoughts, warping her perceptions, turning her own mind against her.
We have to go.
Where? Where can we go?
The Hades. I had them now, body and soul. It was no longer a ship, but a prison, a coffin drifting through the endless expanse of space. And they were its willing captives, bound to it by a terror they couldn't escape, by whispers that promised only oblivion.